and welcome back to the show. Episode 2. Today we have good friend and Forex influencer Aman Natt on the show. Natt at one point was one of the largest Forex influencers and educators in the industry. Natt today talks about the trials and tribulations that he has faced when getting into the market, experiences he has of life, business, and whilst he's in the market, the mindset that it takes for him to do what he has to do, influences that he has around him and that he has had around him, and how he thinks that he's going to take life going forward. Give it a listen. Thank you. Aman Natt, my brother.
How's it going?
Welcome to the D1 podcast.
It's been a while. How you doing?
It has been a while, about 15 years probably.
Yeah, actually has been that long.
Man is busy in London.
I still got to come down, still got to do stuff like this. I think this is going to be very fun.
But it's the beauty of relationships.
No,
and it's the beauty of friendships and growing up with people and keeping it real with people. Because on the real, we haven't met for a couple of years. We don't speak all the time, but the respect is always there.
We went Nando's once.
We went Nando's once, and I had to catch up, but the respect is always there, still always there for each other. So introduce yourself to people that don't know who you are. And there shouldn't be many that don't know who you are because you're essentially famous.
Hey guys, my name's Aman Natt. I've been in the trading industry and the tech industry for, wow, I started when I was 19, and believe it or not, this guy actually got me into it. So, and then now I'm turning 37 soon.
Wow.
So I've been in it for that long, and yeah, just done different ventures in the space, but just always been around the trading space.
Okay, so for those of you, the people that don't know what Forex trading is, what do you do?
Sure. Like, basically, it's just being really good at reading patterns and understand the market. So obviously, I like trading stuff like gold. Gold is a safe haven. I like the way that I can look at what's happening in the world. And so basically, digitally trading gold, other currencies, sometimes I've dabbled in crypto before as well, but I've stuck to like gold trading along with other currencies. But just think about it this way, you can obviously make a prediction whether the market's going to up or down. You can decide whether it's going to be up or down in 3 months, 6 months, or even 3 hours or 2 hours. So, me and my team, we really kind of take a deep dive into why gold's moving, and we just, trade. And then obviously, after a few years of me figuring out how difficult it was, I reckon it was 3.5 years when I was talking to you, basically just like getting my ass kicked by the markets. And then after I did well for a couple of years, and then people want to learn from me from Coventry, where we're from, like my friends, my family were like, if you can do it, can you teach me? Never thought about teaching. Almost the beginning, to be honest with you, I was a bit stubborn because, for us, it was a very, very hard journey.
Yeah.
And then once I kind of knew what to, do, I was like, right, should I charge for it? Should I not? And then I went into, helping people, ran that business, then became at one point in like middle of London, one of probably the biggest kind of education trading company in central London.
Don't talk it down. You was one of the biggest educational providers in the country, not London, in the country.
Yeah, we had like the big office in Mayfair, which we ran for like so many years, so much fun. And then, now like I've gone around the world teaching in pretty much every country in the world. I've taught people, but again, like what I like to try and do is go from teaching to understanding, can they trade or not? And I've got my own metrics platform, which can monitor their performance. I can see where they're winning, where they're losing. If they come good enough, they can join my team.
Yeah, amazing.
So it's just much more like, however you got into it, but can I help improve you and see where you're going right or wrong? Because we've been there.
Yeah, that was amazing. I remember like people coming to me, like back in the day, it used to be yourself, like, Amma, what do we do here? What do we do there? But then I remember like people coming to me, so like, yo, I'm gonna learn off Natt. And then at first I was like, off Natt? Like, yo, like, how did that come from? But you picked it at the right time. Like, timing is important and stuff like that. But what you did was, when you just touched upon a second ago, you were 50-50 on whether you should teach people because it was your experience, it was your life, it was your ups and downs. Why should somebody else benefit from my downs?
Yeah, it was.
But you did an amazing thing because what you did was you monetized it.
And you know what it was as well? It was the good feeling because, like I said, to paint a picture, when I was, like I said, I had the story, like I was, I think 17, 18. Obviously, we've got like family friends, I would say that we are. I know Amma's parents, Amma knew my parents. So my mum used to be like, kind of looking at Amma going, whatever he's going to do in life, do it. And I used to come, and I've got to tell the story to obviously Amar's business with his family. He had the yellow galado. I was like, oh my God, how did you get this? And then I used to come up to him and say, should I do this in life? Should I do this in life? And I think he just genuinely had enough of me messaging him different ideas that then Amma had ventured into trading. And he's just like, I swear he said it because he was fed up. He was like, listen, just get into this and you'll thank me in a few years. And then my first ever trip in a Lamborghini was in Amar's going to pick it up from Birmingham. And then I remember I've got a video of you driving through the tunnel in it. So like it's crazy because like I just wanted to try and see which direction to take. But when Amma got me into trading, and again it was free, I used to come round yours once a week
Mm,
with my computer and I was
mm,
like, can I just give you an update how this week went?
yeah.
And then I remember you were excited to help me.
Say what car you was in as well at the time.
I think I had must be like either a £3,000 Vauxhall Corsa
Absolutely.
or like a Golf, like
No, it was the Corsa.
it was the
It was the
Corsa.
Corsa, and then you went to the 5 Series Schnitzer. Bro, I remember
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
about you.
So like but I remember that feeling of me going to Ammar's house and saying, "Look, this week this is how my trades went," and Ammar just turned around and going, "Look, you made some mistakes there." So that actually helped me when other people were like, "How can you do that for me?"
Mm,
And I was like, "Well, Ammar did it for me." So then I managed to do it for other people. So yes, it was definitely looking at it from a business perspective, but also I knew what the feeling was like.
mm.
And therefore, like, I can travel to anywhere in the world. And the people that I've taught have become my friends where it's nice. Like you go travel, everything, come, Nat, don't worry about this, Nat, don't. So it helped me build relationships with people
Mm.
that I've actually managed to help.
Yeah,
And that's been pretty good as well.
amazing. First question. This is your perspective on this is going to be amazing. How important is education when it comes to success? Before you answer it, though, don't bash education because education has a place, in my opinion. But I know your view on it.
Mhm.
So, in your success, and you are successful, how important and what role has education played in it?
There's a very interesting quote in trading, but I think it applies to life, which is in trading, if you make money by mistake, it's a loan with a high default rate.
Okay.
And I apply that to life, which means you can enter any business and try and wing it.
Yeah.
But if you wing it, and let's say you make your first £5,000, 10,000, but you do it in the wrong way,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you're going to be chasing that. And those bad habits that you've got will come and take everything from you.
Mm-hmm.
So, in terms of education, it's so important that basically you understand, hey, before I rush to get the money, have I done everything correctly? Have I learned from other things and how other people have done it? You've got to follow someone's path. And
Mm.
you've got to gonna say, if this person's gone down this path, if I just watch their story, I get to learn from them, I'm saving time and money.
Mm.
So I feel like education is very, very important. Otherwise, you will make money by mistake and you will try and repeat it in any business.
But I'm very, very, very shocked that that's your answer.
Yeah.
Knowing
Like,
you, and I've known you for best part of 25 years from ground up, you was always dead set against education.
but what I mean by that is, and I said I'll finish because, like I said, it's my opinion only. But like, I can have the opinion on the education system
Mm-hmm.
now changing with the current climate of AI, social media, growing your business. I think what schools teach, they haven't changed the context of it
Mm.
in like, 50 years.
Yeah.
So, that's where for me, I knew university wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I remember like going there and saying, I for some reason can't digest this information. I
Mm.
couldn't go home and study one day in my life and I just couldn't
Mm.
figure out why.
Mm.
So for me, I watched other people that could do that and revise and then go and kill it.
Mm.
And I realized, okay, everyone's different. It's like that picture of you get different animals and they all told to try and do the same trick.
Yeah.
They can't do it.
Of course.
And that's how I see education. If it's for you, it's for you.
Yeah.
And if it's not for you, don't try and force it upon
Yeah.
yourself.
That's my view on it as well. Like, although I am educated, I think you didn't go uni.
I went for 1 year.
For 1 year, pissed about and dropped out.
Well, actually, like, it's maybe give people a good story. I think people like this story. I haven't told it in ages, but I went for a year. Definitely, the Asian kind of culture of, my parents were obviously much older than me, as you know. They didn't know what was at uni, but it's almost like I had to go. And that pressure of if you don't go, you're not going to have a job. You're not going to have
Yeah.
any money. You're going to be broke.
You're not going to be a doctor.
You're just going to be like stuffed in life.
Yeah.
So obviously I went for 1 year, realized it wasn't for me. And then I had to go back to pick my results up. And it was like Stoke-on-Trent Uni, like an hour away. And as I was driving there, I had to have a think in the car and said, if I open this envelope and let's say I miraculously passed, I am going to go uni for the wrong things, which
Yeah.
is living away from home, drinking, partying. And I was at that age where it was incredibly fun.
Yeah.
But if I open the envelope and I failed, am I going to think of myself as a failure from now on?
Mm.
So I drove to uni, got the envelope in my hand, decided to log into the university portal and change my email address and my address and delete, and I put the envelope in the bin.
My God.
And I still don't know whether I passed or not.
Is that true?
It's a true
Still
story.
don't know whether you
Yeah,
what a
yeah, yeah.
guy.
That's my
I didn't
story.
know that.
Yeah. And I decided to be like, I've already made my mind up on the way.
Yeah.
So by me opening this envelope, this is going to be the distraction period of my life where I say, yeah, why not? Let's have another year of fun. Or, okay, you know what? You failed uni,
Yeah.
but you didn't try.
Yeah.
So, like, that was my stance on it.
You just come to terms with the fact that whatever was in that paper was in the paper, but regardless, you made the choice of, okay, cool, this is the next step.
Yeah. And a lot of people, when I tell that story, they're like, I can't live like that.
Mm.
And I said, I just made my mind up. I had to read the room of people that had maybe gone to my uni who had got this degree and they were, stuck in life. And I just said to myself, I can read the room better than this. It's not for me in the first place.
Yeah.
There's something else out there which my brain will excel at.
Hmm.
And luckily, I made that decision.
Yeah, amazing. So, what's one trait that you think that you've got that makes you successful in business?
Mine's an interesting one. I think that like people don't use what they naturally have gone through. For me, I would say being an only child with parents that didn't speak any English, that I had to learn everything myself.
Mm.
So that then made me be very good at understanding people. And like my first language, yes, I was born in the UK, born in Walsgrave, Coventry, but my parents spoke Punjabi.
Mm.
So I had to go to school and I didn't understand what they were saying.
Mm.
So that was really embarrassing to get bullied and not be able to keep up with English with other kids. But then I went on like a mission on myself and said, you know what? I'm gonna like read so many things online and I'm gonna be a very good talker.
Mm.
And then that will be my networking and that will be how I carry myself.
Yeah.
So people obviously say I'm very well spoken, but they don't realize that it was my journey
Mm.
of being so bored. And instead of just saying I'm bored as an only child, I was like, let me just watch how them two talk and
Yeah.
how they communicate and let me go online and just learn.
Yeah.
So I say like my skill to say is like to be able to adapt to any conversation with anyone.
Yeah.
And definitely, like I said, trading aside, it's a natural gift of mine to be able to not know anyone. Like when I went to London, like I didn't know a single soul. I couldn't even get into a nightclub,
Mm.
in London. And it wasn't about money in London. It's about, do you know someone? The same nightclubs 3 years later, I was best friends with the owners, getting everything for free.
Mm.
And that's because I was good people with them. I
Yeah.
went on holiday with them. And I just, everyone's like, how do you know this person? How do you know this person? I went, by being me
Mm.
and just entering a room and being able to have a conversation with anyone about anything.
Being authentic.
Yeah, being authentic, just being a normal guy and just basically just being able to not be shy. I think that one,
Yeah.
like me growing up as an only child, very, very shy.
Mm.
Like, guys, I couldn't go up to a girl at school and just say hi.
Mm.
I was that shy. Like, there was other kids that just had amazing talent of talking, and I just didn't.
Mm.
So I just had to do it myself. And then that was probably the skill of just being able to fit in.
What do you think changed that? Because just question just from in general. Like now with me, I was like that at school as well. Shy, could never talk to people, never wanted to speak to people. When I went to uni, exactly the same thing. And then one day it just clicked. I literally just thought, essentially, fuck it. I gotta be me because I want to make it. I want the Lambo. I want the finer things in life. So what changed in you? Like, what was there something that happened or?
Yeah, I think this is a good question. Like for me, obviously I went to secondary school in President Kennedy, which anyone can do their research. A very rough school.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say any like to be fair. Shout out to one friend who did way better than me, which is Callum Wilson, that plays for England
Yeah.
and West Ham, which I'm very good friends with.
Mm.
But that school, otherwise, was a very tough school to try and get. And then I ventured out, and this is why I said at the beginning of the podcast, like I hung out with you
Mm.
more than my friends.
Mm.
You're the one with the Lambo. I was like, how can I learn from you? And I think obviously my friend Anish,
Yeah.
and Anish's family, one of my good friends, his family were very successful. And I said, you know what? I need to spend more time with people like this, which I think that I can learn from.
Mm.
And obviously that changed my perspective on things.
Mm.
What if you're surrounded by like, 5, 10 school friends and you're all talking about the same thing? Maybe it's something simple like, we're all going to go five-a-side football. Let's chip in £5, £6 each. And they're
Yeah.
arguing over it.
Mm.
And then you go to someone else's house, which is just like, well, I just bought this company. And you know what? I'm going to fly to Hong Kong. And
Yeah.
I've got this meeting on Tuesday. And if you overhear that,
100%.
you will go home and think differently. So I think it's the influence and being able to not be shy and just say to someone, "What did you say again?"
Yeah.
Like, even though I'm very young, like
Yeah.
I used to probably
You're
ask you
confident.
1,000
Yeah.
questions. People are shy to ask questions.
The beauty of that is, see, you put yourself in a circle. So the two families that you mentioned, two people you mentioned, you were very aware of the circle you was in. But you didn't want that. So
Mhm.
you knew, I think, and I think this is a fair thing to say, you knew at a very young age that you one wanted more, and two, you were worthy of it.
Yeah, like, even the worthy bit, I think that people try and wait for a validation.
Yeah.
I was just there going, I've got nothing to lose by hanging out with people that I think have done very well. And if I'm next to them, and it's not like, it's a one-way thing where you go and meet someone and just bug them with questions. I think if you show someone you're a hard worker and you are willing to take advice on,
Mm,
that advice would change everything for you.
yeah.
And so that was probably my thing of like, it's not against anyone. It's about who you decide to hang out with.
Yeah, amazing. So now, like, your previous company, Astro, was one of the largest Forex educators in the country, potentially Europe,
Yeah, yeah.
potentially Europe. You're globally known. Like, I'm seeing you on social media and you're popping off all over the place. I'm proud. I'm like my absolute bro. Like, no, day one essentially. You're hiring people left, right, and center to represent you in different countries, different continents, but your main base is London. So when you're hiring these people, what are you looking for? So what are you looking for in the individual? Like, obviously different roles require different things, but what are the key traits when you were hiring people? What were you looking for?
Sure. Like I said, my business has always been like trading, performance. We'll put that aside because that's, can you trade
Can you, yeah.
and can you do? But obviously, to run a business, yes, you need staff members, reliability, a manager, people that can come and do a lot of the work. And this is a one that I learned myself the hard way. Like when I started doing well and had a few nice cars in Coventry, I'd my friends I went to school with to go, can I have a job? I'm like, you know what? Being too nice, I'm sure you've done it before. Yeah, sure. Next day, don't even come in.
Mm,
The next day, say, hey, listen, do you mind picking me up from work? And then you're just there like, no, I gave you an opportunity. So then as I got a bit older, I realized you need to basically try and find out what someone's made of as soon as possible. And it's from little tasks. Like, do they sigh when you ask them to do something? Are they actually there just telling you that they can do whatever that you ask them to do and how hungry they are? But try and figure out how hungry they are by the simple tasks. Because it might even just be like, hey, meet me here tomorrow at 9 in the morning. You're going to find out straight away that
mm,
person that's got the train at 8:30, she was there like half an hour early saying, sorry, I'm early. And there's other people, and this is not people that this is people that are trying to impress you to work with you.
mm,
That will be like sloppy text message, excuse, I've got this going on. I've got family issues. I'm like, it's got nothing to do with me. We all have family issues,
mm.
but you've got to try and decide, okay, I make this impression or I make this impression. I don't think people realize that that will last forever.
Yeah.
So I always judge it on like, do you show up? How do you show up? What's your attitude like? Because everything else can be trained. I'm sure you'll agree.
Mm,
You find someone who really wants it
mm,
and they can be molded into a superstar. There is people that have got a talent, but would rather do stupid stuff with their time
mm.
and then just half-ass it. And the people that half-ass it, you need to stay away from them.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the biggest mistake that you've made in your business? And also, what's the worst trait that you found in people in business?
I think, you know what? I think people like this story because it's about money. I think that I was probably like 2, 3 years of being successful. I think I had the R8 and the Maserati, and I was just, having fun, just like having fun, as much fun as possible that a person could have. And I remember getting to my car and I had to just drive to like Coventry, and it was like a 30-minute drive. Get into the R8 and I'm driving and it's got no fuel. And I'm like, all right, I'm supposed to put fuel in. Every single card I went to put in had less than £5
Mm,
because I just didn't manage my money.
mm,
And believe it or not, there you are in an R8. And I've got to then ask someone who's my friend's friend at university at the time, can you lend me £20?
yeah.
They're like, for what? And I was like, does it matter? They're like, why do you want £20? Why do you want 20? I was like, I need it for fuel. And that drive home made me feel so horrible about myself that I was like, this can never happen again. And then I got switched on by like, having, your money correct. and understanding when to have fun and when not to have fun.
Yeah.
Because everyone just goes crazy, but then doesn't look at the bare basics of what mistakes they've made. So that's probably a money one.
Mm.
I
It's
think.
humbling, isn't it, when you have to do
Oh,
that?
wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I basically was begging for £20.
Yeah.
You know, all right, yeah. And then I think another one is just like, you want the best for people, but not everyone's got the same energy towards you.
Yeah.
So definitely, when you win, and I'm sure you've been there and I've been there, it's like, I want everyone to win.
Simple.
I want everyone to win. So you might be giving the blueprint out to people,
Mm.
but then instantly they are wishing that they were above you,
Yeah.
better than you. And it's not a competition,
Mm.
but they turn it into one.
Yeah.
So I would just say, watch out for people that you can try and pick up early signs of that
Mhm.
they're not for the long run.
Yeah. You can't carry people along your journey.
Yeah.
So you can want the best for everybody. That's what I found. You can want the best for everybody. You can give everyone all the attention in the world, but you can't make them take that first step.
And you can't like hope for loyalty.
But they're going to ask you to carry their first step. Make my first step for me.
Yeah.
But once you make the first, do me a favor, my bro. Can you make the second step for me as well? And before you know it, you're more worried about their journey than you are your own.
Exactly. And then you do that for the right people.
Yeah.
But then the wrong people
Hmm.
will just come back. And whilst you've been maybe, I don't know, giving them gems or really going out your way to help people, you've got to understand like there is the closest people sometimes to you at the time that really wish you didn't have what you have.
Hmm.
They really don't.
Hmm.
It's inside people's, minds that even though me and you could be really positive,
Hmm.
there is going to be people along your journey that just go, I want what he has, and
Yeah.
I'm willing to be fake nice
Hmm.
to try and get the information. So that, like I said, just on the mistake side, both of them I needed to go through,
Yeah.
but there were different mistakes.
So I done a podcast last week with someone as well, and they said on their podcast that they felt like their circle of people, the network of people they were at that point, did like exactly like you said, didn't want them to win. They dragged them down.
Mm.
So it's essentially the same thing. How would you then get away from that circle?
That's a very interesting one because we all like a familiar face.
Yeah.
And I think that, there's a good quote that like people even get love mixed with a familiar face. So especially if you got friends, you're like, okay, but I'm so used to hanging out with them. And then therefore people do not want to be alone.
Yeah.
And I think that, I've gone through full circles, being only child, being the most sociable person on the planet ever.
Yeah.
And then actually enjoying my own peace again.
Yeah.
So people cannot sit there and, I'm sure you heard this before, people can't sit in a room without being on their phones.
Yeah.
So therefore that same addiction needs to be, I need to have 5, 10 friends and I need to, be doing stuff with them. So I think in that position of a person that's surrounded by the wrong people, they've got to make a very tough choice and go, I might not have any friends, but I'd rather just look at life like a one-player game because they were not having my best interests.
Yeah. Friendship is one of the hardest things someone can keep, I think, when they're making money. You've made a serious amount of money. You have every car under the sun that a boy of your age can want, so a man of your age could have wanted, from your RH to your Maseratis to the dream, of which every boy's boyhood dream is the doors go up.
Yeah.
The Lambo where the doors go up.
I had the Hurricane before that, didn't go
Yeah,
up.
but
Then I
but
realized
then
it.
you realize you
Then I
wanted the
realized it.
V12.
Then I
You wanted the
realized
12
it.
cylinder and you wanted to go 212 miles an hour, which you probably no doubt have done. How did that come about? So you've got your friends, you've got your circle of people which are essentially holding you back. You've stepped away. But you haven't stepped away, you've stepped to the side. You come in and you dip in and you dip out. You're working, you're focusing on you. And then I achieved what I know you had always wanted to achieve, the Lambo. Then what? Because that was the pinnacle for us.
Yeah, like, do you mean like as in terms of bad people around you still, or do you mean like just generally keep having the car?
How did your mind work at that point? I'll tell you how my
Yeah,
mind
because I was going to
worked.
ask you the
So
question.
24 years old, a Lamborghini. It's not heard of at that point.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. There was one, and I was the one.
Yeah.
So it was literally like, yo, like, what else do I want?
Yellow Gallardo, F1 Ama.
Yeah, like
everything.
what else do I want? And then it was like, and it was kind of very much like motivation died a little bit because in your head you think, okay, I've made it. Now bring your circle back into it, and this is why I'm asking the question: what's the importance of different circles? So if I had a bigger circle around me at that point, a more successful circle with a yacht,
Hmm.
for example, with whatever you wanted, with the skyscraper building, at that point, I would have thought, oh, cool, fair enough. I've done well, but I haven't done great. You're around a more successful circle than me. So you've got your Lambo, you've achieved that for that first 5 minutes you're in that car, it's absolutely unreal. Until you get a phone call, which is a shitty phone call, and you forget I'm in a Lambo. Because then life comes back in. So how did you handle that?
It's an interesting one. And then this is like where you use like a famous quote and say, "Show me a great man of a great man,"
Yeah,
which is basically if your father does really, really well, the chances of the son screwing his whole life up is very high.
yeah.
So, there is people that have got nice things, but it's all because of family.
Hmm.
And, I think people should be aware of that as much as fun as you think they're having, no, they don't even know an ounce of a smile compared to you getting it yourself.
Yeah,
But you don't realize that. As you get a little bit older, you meet people and they're like, oh, my dad owns this, my dad owns this. And they might have a very nice car. They're the ones that really can't smile.
hmm.
And then for yourself, you realize that, hang on a second, you can have a pinch me moment at any time. Like, and I remember, like, how often sometimes I used to come to Coventry, even though I live in central London. Central London can get to your head. Like I said, me knowing all these people and going to all these clubs and pies and private pies and events. I used to know how to humble myself just by having a nice drive in the car, coming back here and go,
Yeah,
like, dude, you grew up over there.
yeah,
Do you remember that time? Do you remember that time? Like for me, I never delete any pictures or videos at my phone.
yeah.
I must have like 20,000 videos
Hmm.
just because I always want to look back and appreciate a pinch me moment. And I think that a lot of people could have a lot of ego and can't have the pinch me moment sometimes.
Yeah,
And a lot of people get confused with, oh, they're doing really well. Look at them, they've got this. But it wasn't necessarily them that got it. And you need to remember that. So you'll be happier just by having your own success instead of looking at someone else's and going, that's their journey and you've got yours.
yeah, fair. So starting out in business, what's the best advice you can give to someone looking to start out, struggling to start out, thinking about starting
What, what,
out?
what, what would you say on this question
Just do it.
to
That's
start?
it. Simple. Just start. Suck it up.
Yeah, like mine's very similar. I actually had one of my cousins who came around my house, and I think she's come over a few times, and I don't think she'll mind telling me the story, but she kept wanting to start. And I said, "What are you afraid of?" And she goes, "Well, the most terrifying bit." And I said, "No, no, no. This is the most funnest bit."
Best
And I
bit.
had to explain to her why. I said, "Oh, once you start doing well, the social pressure
Mm.
that everyone's watching you, you can't make a mistake. You've said that this is the new thing that I'm releasing and I've got coming out. But when you're starting, no one's looking. So this should be the most creative part. I can honestly say, I'm sure you would agree, that in this whole story of my life, the funnest bit was starting off.
Absolutely.
The funnest bit, like
Because the
it's
dreams are bigger.
yeah,
The world doesn't apply pressure
buying your domain name,
for
creating your logo,
o- opening a bank account.
opening a bank account, seeing the first £1,000 come in that you've managed to kind of, generate from whatever you've done is an unreal feeling.
Mm.
But that's why people are so scared of what's on the other side of, but what if I fail? And I'm like, I have failed so many times.
Mm.
I'm sure yourself,
Mm.
even when you think you know what's going to go on, it can still not go very well for you. So it's about picking it up. But at the start, you need to enjoy the process because
Mm.
they're your best memories.
I agree. But what would you say to
Oh,
someone that's struggling to start?
I would simply say like if you just keep hesitating regarding everything that you're going to be doing, you are just going to be that sideways person forever.
Yeah.
And like it's a funny one because I look at different dynamics and maybe I'll kind of go back into Asian culture here for a second or Indian culture. Doesn't matter where you're from. I think that there's certain people who have it really tough in life.
Mm.
And let's say that, and I'll be honest, I'm not one of them that, hey, at 16, you have to go out there and pay rent and figure out yourself. But there are people that, have like a cushion with their family, and it's more of Indian and
Yeah.
maybe Pakistani, and
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of different cultures will relate. But this person is willing to risk it all.
Yeah.
And it should be the other way around.
Yeah.
You've got the safety net where you can go out there, and I tell this the exact conversation that you're telling me. You can hit 25 brick walls.
Mm.
Do you still have food at the end of the night? Do
Still have
you
a
still
home.
have
100%.
exactly? And this person doesn't.
Yeah.
But this person's gonna be more risky. And I think that really paints a big picture of why people get stuck in very, very miserable jobs in life because they've gone down the safe road.
Yeah.
And you can almost be motivated by people like this, going, well, when he started it, he must have had like £100 to his
Mm,
name. He probably had all this pressure, and he's done it. So I think for, when you look at stories like that, the person who's gonna want to start has already started.
yeah,
You got to think of that way. So if you are still 2, 3 years and you're being, hesitant to doing something, you're genuinely making it so much worse for yourself, because you're gonna be that guy that 5 years go in and you go, yeah, I've been thinking about it for 5 years now, and no one's gonna invest in you.
yeah.
No one.
Waiting is not a good thing for anybody. Someone like me or you is just going to go do it regardless.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the fear comes into it. It's like you just said, it's very much, but what if I fail? But I don't know. And what do I do next? But okay, cool. What if you fail? You fail. It is just one of them things. Can you then do it again and succeed? Of course you can. Listening to people, I have found, has never really worked well for me, because if I was to come to you with an idea, I'm very conscious of when people come to me with these ideas as well. What works for you might not work for me,
Hmm.
and vice versa. So I might come to you with an idea, whereas this can's going to be the next best thing since sliced bread, but you're going to say, "No, I don't think that's going to work."
Yeah.
I don't believe in stuff like that.
I could be in a bad mood.
Yeah, I believe in my energy, and that's where when people say to me, or I speak to people, and they're like, "Oh, but I don't know if I can do it." I'm like, "But you don't know if you can. Just do it. Just try."
What's quite interesting is, like, if you speak to a super successful person,
Yeah.
they're going to give you a different angle,
Mm.
and it could be whatever idea, but they're going to be like, you know what? Good effort.
Yeah.
You tell someone the same level as you, your
Yeah.
idea,
Nah, it's not good.
they are going to go, okay, he's thinking a little bit more smarter than me. You
Mm.
know what, buddy? No, nothing's going to work.
Mm.
This is a terrible idea. And I'm sure for my journey, I'm sure for yours, people like my friendship circle at that time, when I said I just want a BMW, that's all I said. And I think the BMW was like £10,000. My friends laughed at me in the car and
It
go,
was an AC Schnitzer, by the way.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then they were like, yeah, right, you're going to get that car. And I just said to myself, I'm not even saying something super
Yeah.
big. It's just so small.
Yeah.
And then I realized that that laugh can follow you with your goals, with your plans, with your business plan. Like, there's not many people that, are watching you who basically will say, even though I've got no business experience, hey, I love your idea or I don't. You've got to trust yourself to make that decision.
But the beauty of it isn't that you can see it. You have to be able to see it in your own mind. The quote goes, if you see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands, or visualize, believe, achieve. But if you can see it in your hand, nothing should stop you from trying to make it happen, trying to make it happen. God willing, it does. Not saying it's going to happen, but what stops you from trying? And I think that's where the confidence of people and their experience of life and their circle, that's where that comes into it. So I would then encourage people to say, just do it. And some people would very much say, but it's not that easy. But in reality, it is that easy. You just got to start.
I had a person, maybe this is a good story. Like, a person reached out to me, and I don't want to say his name, but he worked at a certain car garage where one of my cars were. And I knew him from before. And he messaged me and he had this idea, and I think it was something to do with a water company. And obviously, he's like, can you connect me to people? And I was like, I haven't spoken to you in so many years. Like, I don't know someone in this space, but I was like, do you want a phone call? I was so happy that he's excited about something. 1 hour phone call, giving him different ideas. All he was like, could you introduce me to someone with a water company? I went, no, but I'll give you some guidance that you might not sound like I'm helping you. Go on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Go and find anyone online, a hashtag water bottle that lives in your area
Yeah.
that can do this. That's your research. You should be having conversations with people that are in that industry after work, before work, for a coffee, this and that. And he was just like, so you're not going to help me? And I goes,
Can't see it.
yeah,
Can't see it. What do you think is the difference between success and failure?
consistency. I
Mm.
think that, similar to like the quote that I was driving here, guys, and I was driving and Ammar's quote rung in my head of, again, because so much history here, that when I went to buy a nice car, I think it was the Maserati back in the day, like you're talking like 12 years ago now or something like that. I called Ammar excited, tell him that I'm gonna get this car. I don't know what car it was, maybe it's a Huracan or something, maybe it was the Huracan, and I was like, I'm gonna get this car, and he goes, Nat, let me just tell you one thing before you get excited. It's very, very easy to get a car, but it's harder to keep it.
Mm.
So I think that that quote hopefully maybe kind of looks at like a bigger version of your answer, which is, the difference of failure and success is, okay, you can get some of this, but can you keep
Can you
it?
keep
And
it?
it's consistency that if you don't have consistency, you'll just go win, fail, like success, failure.
Yeah.
And if you're not consistent, it can go straight to failure.
Hmm.
So, often is about showing up, and people have a really hard time at just like trying not to make excuses up. Life is full of excuses. Excuses this. I like throwing up sometimes when I hear the most worst excuses. Like, I try and tell people, and I don't mind sharing a personal story. Like, I remember, like, whether it be my mum's funeral, my dad's funeral, I was like distracting myself with work. I was like, you know what? I can distract myself with work when someone tells me, you won't believe it. My auntie from so and so is coming into the country, whatever I'm like, you had to just do this 10-15 minute task. And this is how large your excuse is. And it's those kind of people that I just think you're waiting for the next excuse. You've already planned it. It's almost like people that kind of think it's fun to try and work really hard to go, I'm going to tell my boss I've got an excuse so I don't have to come in today. And they're so happy with it.
It's pre-planned.
I'm like, that shouldn't be your happiest day. Your happiest day should be, I'm at the top of this job and I can't believe I'm worth this much to another company. But no, you need to tell me about how you've managed to wing a lie, cough on the phone to your boss, and you've got a day off.
Do you think there's a recipe or an X factor for entrepreneurship for successful people? Not just entrepreneurship, to be fair, because you can be successful in your 9 to 5 or your 9 to 8, whatever you've got. Do you think there's certain traits that everyone needs to have? Like they say, the X factor,
What would you say? What would you say yours might be?
the ability to adapt. Doesn't matter what the circumstances, doesn't matter what I've got going on, doesn't matter if the kids are ill, you have to go to work. You have to be able to show up for work. No matter what happens in that day, regardless of the fact that you've had 5 tenants move out, you've got an issue in one business or another, you have to have a mental shut off, and you have to be able to adapt, focus on the situation at hand, tackle it. Don't bury your head in the sand. I think that's one of the worst traits a person can have when they bury their head in the sand. But the ability to adapt to any environment, any circumstance, any situation, I think that's like a superpower.
I agree. And I think one of the things that made me come to mind as you were saying that is whatever you're doing, get away from the victim mentality. Get as far away as you can from that. I promise you, a victim mentality is not going to impress anyone. So, but that's what some
Other
people
than another
think.
victim.
Yeah, but like some people think that, okay, you know what? If I just tell this person about all the stuff I've got going on, they're going to feel bad and give me an opportunity. And, if you've been working for the person for a long time, like the people I work with, I'm like, go anywhere you want to go in the world. You deserve it. But when you're just starting off with someone, don't have victim mentality. Have that, as you said, show up, be around. I could be the first one here. I don't have to do like a social media, like I'll stay until midnight, but it's the important things of showing that you're actually in the room and you're engaging with people. Whereas a lot of people come and just go, oh, it's a job. Oh, it's an opportunity. Go home, do your planning before work, after work. So it's that hunger. And like I said, I hate to say it because, it's easy to say everyone can do it, but there is you're cut from a certain cloth.
Yeah.
But the good thing is you can build that cloth. It's not something that, okay, when you're born, here you go.
Yeah.
It's about, hang on a second, this is going to be difficult for me to do. I think I can do it. And if you challenge yourself to do things, all of a sudden you're cut from the cloth now.
Yeah.
And then you will spot other people that are cut from the cloth and they're going to, start to hang out with you.
It's like building muscle.
Yeah.
It's like building muscle. You have to be consistent every day. If you want big arms, train arms every day or train arms every other day. But you have to show up, and then eventually you build one fiber, the fiber gets stronger, gets bigger, bigger, bigger. That's why I think the gym and health and fitness and success, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, of course.
I genuinely think they go hand in hand. But I'm actually surprised from being a gym owner, the amount of people that can apply discipline of that nature into building their body. But as soon as they step out the door, they struggle in building it in life. They're so content with going to work. And although obviously it's not about this, but I genuinely think like building success and building muscle go hand in hand, or building your fitness up go hand in hand. One thing actually is an interesting question for you. You have it a lot more than what I have it. How do you deal with hate?
Hate's always been an interesting one, and you might see this online, but this quote is genuinely, genuinely true. If someone's doing better than you, they are never gonna, talk badly about you. They're not gonna shit on you. they don't care about you.
Good friend of mine says hate only comes from below.
Literally, that's so true.
Hmm.
And then that's when you realize, okay, these people writing comments have no profile picture,
Yeah.
no nothing. And by the way, I am a type of guy that will DM you
Yeah.
in case you decide to like say, oh, stupid this or whatever. Like a few times, you know, of course, like you upload a picture, you got thousands of comments, and there's one guy that just goes, you know, something like, oh, must be nice, or you know, the car I think
Rented.
rented or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
I would go onto your profile and go, brother, like, do you want to go and see me buying it in this video?
Yeah.
Unless I got the Lamborghini guy to fake it, and I got him to fake it, and I got this to fake it, and they managed. So it's always, as you said, like, don't be afraid of hate. It's more or less like you actually become quite immune to it. And I'm sure, like, you know, especially for yourself, like, you know, being the first guy in Coventry with a Lambo, you've got to watch where you park it. You've got to watch what happens. There's people out there that will just go, I'm a key on purpose.
Mm.
But if you run into another person with a Lambo, you're going to become friends.
Mm. That again, that's the beauty of stuff like that, of material possessions, which I'm not a massive fan of material, but material possessions do lead to bigger circles, bigger networks. So like you just said, if someone's got a Lambo, what do you do? Like now, if you drive a Rolls Royce, I drive a Rolls Royce as well. You're driving along, you see another Rolls Royce owner, what do? You're right.
It's
Simple.
true.
And then you'd see him a couple of more times there, and then before you know it, your window's down.
And then you got like a whispers
And you got the
app.
Whispers app,
And
and
then,
then it helps for networking.
Yeah.
But if you put yourself in the environment, back in the day when it used to be, social media wasn't a massive thing. So the only time I ever had social media exposure when I was younger, I was never a massive social media fan anyway, was when my car caught fire in London, and then it was in the paper. So then I was like, whoa, you know, I'm not even from London. Why are they got an article about my car blowing up in London? I'm sitting in Coventry in the office in the shop, and my dad comes in and shows me. I'm just like, oh God, you don't like me having it anyway. But social media brings a lot of hate. It brings a lot of attention. It brings a lot of different eyes, and hate of that nature. Like I know you treat it in a different way, and I don't want to say you bully people back, but
I have fun with it.
you have fun with it. Yeah, but do you think that you've built up a wall of you can't affect me, you can't hurt me?
You know what people like? I just think this is like just a social media gem or like a life gem is like no one knows that this person who's not got a profile picture has decided to dish you.
Yeah,
It's you're the problem if you go on your stories or whatever and go, hey, people think this and that about me. This is not, I need to clear up. No, they don't. No one cares. Like everyone's got a different version of you. And out of like 100% of the people that are looking at your journey, those two people that live on the other side, the 2% that live on the other side of the world,
yeah.
you are the problem that lets it get into your head
Mhm.
with what they've said. And then you project that and people can see you've projected it.
Yeah.
And I see that go wrong for people all the time.
Do
They
you feel
can't
you need?
handle that criticism.
Do you feel you need to justify yourself sometimes?
Never. Like I always say, like, are you like, I don't know how to explain, like, I went through a period like a little while ago where I was just so grateful
Yeah.
for the stuff I've seen, witnessed, done, pied, like traveled the world 3 times over, that I went, I can't be angry at anyone.
Mm.
You know, I can't be angry at anyone.
You're blessed.
Yeah. And if you just think like that, then all of a sudden, like, comments don't bother you, getting down don't bother you, but it's just true. You are almost like, you need to become cold to your emotions
Mm.
of what other people think, because if you can't handle that now,
Yeah.
you go higher and higher up the rankings. Like some of my friends are football players. Like, you know, one of my friends is captain of Chelsea. Like one of my other friends plays, like, you know, I'm looking at sports figures and I'm like, they do one thing wrong,
Mm.
they are bullied for,
Yeah.
like, whoa. Yeah. But he's still getting paid that much per week,
Yeah.
still pulls up to this house,
Mm.
still goes and gets any woman on the planet,
Simple.
and it's just still, but so you telling them in their DMs that like, oh, you're a terrible football player, like,
Shouldn't affect him.
why send that message?
I often
Do you
think
think he cares?
Yeah, I often think hate like that's a test. So when hate comes in my direction, obviously you know I'm quite spiritual, but I always think that hate like that's a test. Like, can you handle it? Have you grown? Have I put you through enough lessons? Have you forgotten the lessons that I've put you through? So have you faced enough adversity to understand that you've been broken? That one person's comment or that one person DMing you about something else or whatever they're doing, you know, I've I've like from a spiritual point of view, I've taught you better. So you shouldn't let that get to you.
Yeah.
So I always kind of take it at that kind of view, like, it's a test from above. If you had to start again, what would you do? And for people that are struggling, what's step number one?
Step number one is stop sharing your dreams with everyone. That's the first thing. Like, if you are thinking you want to do something and set yourself a new challenge, honestly, maybe tell a best mate. Sometimes if you want to tell your parents, great. But just know that you've put unnecessary pressure on yourself, because again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, they don't want you to win, and they can send, and I do believe this, bad energy. I'm a big energy believer.
Yeah.
You can walk into a room and just see, without someone talking, bad vibes. You know that, I know that, everyone knows that. You just sense it. So firstly, if you want to try and do something, keep it close to your chest. When you start to do well, stay grounded, stay consistent. But yeah, like, I think it's just about not putting unnecessary pressure on yourself. Like, it's you versus you.
Yeah.
It's your mind versus your mind. And when you start to not think that, you can't win your own battle in your mind. So you've got to really become a master of going, I am controlling my own emotions. And sometimes you can laugh about it.
Yeah.
When something, something bothers you and you're like, come on, mind.
Yeah.
You get yourself out of it. But it's the people that can't control or rewire their minds to say, I can find that anchoring. Like anchoring. Anchoring is a really good word to describe it. If you are going through, a really bad phase in your life, you sometimes you can anchor and put yourself somewhere else mentally, just to anchor.
Of course.
Like, anchoring of appreciation, anchoring out of, what a bad spot I'm in right now. But if you let it consume you, you'll let it haunt you.
Yeah. In your opinion, how important is confidence and how important is your inner circle? You've kind of touched on it already.
Well, like I said, I find confidence funny because I actually think that I learned confidence from you.
Yeah.
So where did you learn it from?
Where did I learn confidence
like,
from?
I remember, like, you come on, shy kid coming up to you
I
saying,
learned
can we
confidence
go for a drive
from
in your car?
I learned confidence from failure. That's it. That's the truth of it. I think when you knew me first, if I was to be honest with you, I was confident, but in a business environment, I was confident because I knew at that point I was turning over 26 mil. So, find me a guy at 24 turning over 26 mil 20 years ago. So it's an ego thing more than anything.
True.
When you have it taken away, which obviously we did, we lost everything. Then you realize, okay, can I do it again? And that's where you look at yourself. So I done a lot of soul searching in terms of, okay, it didn't work out. It's on me now though. Can you make it by yourself? Can you start from zero and can you make it to there? So I learned confidence from success. And then I learned confidence from being in those environments with the right people and the wrong people. And all honesty, holding my own. So it's two types of confidence, I believe. I believe from a male perspective, there's confidence with women and there's confidence in life.
True.
They go hand in hand. Was I ever amazingly confident with women? No. Am I really bothered about it? Never massively. But that doesn't mean that it was the worst part of my life. When it came to business and when it came to growth, because I was always surrounded by it, it's kind of what I knew. So obviously, dad was always in business. So the older I got, I was always in the shop.
I remember.
So I would look at people like my dad and I would say, okay, cool. When it comes to him selling, how does he sell? He sells with nothing but confidence. Why? Because he believed in the products. Obviously, we sell TVs.
Yeah, I remember.
So, and I
could even picture your shop the way it looks.
So yeah, and I used to watch him. I thought because he was never the greatest teacher, and he's never patient, but he would always just say, just sit down. So when you're sitting down, what can you do? You're just looking. So like you've said from the beginning, you was a visual learner. So I would look at him and I would think, okay, cool. When he's speaking to people, hands behind your back. But when he's describing the product, he's like this, he's like that. And I picked up so much from him from a sales point of view. Now he had so much confidence in the product, but I had confidence in myself. So it doesn't matter if I was a success at that point or a failure, I knew I was better. So how stupid would I be if I didn't have the same confidence that my dad had in a Pioneer TV in myself? So I was like, okay, cool. So sell yourself. So my confidence came from truthfully selling TVs, being able to match my dad in sales, then exceeding my dad in sales. So stupid story is when I first started the website, the first sale I made was a DVD player. I just remember I wanted to put it in the middle of the shop just to show him that I sold it. So, and he's like, what are you doing there? And I'm like, well, I've just sold it online. And he was like, all right, cool. He didn't say nothing. I think he just knew it was a proud moment. 20 minutes later, a TV sold, and I'm just minding my own business. And he's like, well, how have you done that?
I think I remember this
Yeah.
story.
And I was like, how
This is
have
where
you
you
done that?
turned it all online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how have you done that? And I'm like, well, just email come through, money's in the bank, all done. So he's like, okay. And then the end of the day, he's made his pile and I've made my pile. His pile's bigger at this point. He's never bothered by it. And slowly, my pile's now massive. So we went from turning over 1 million to 26 million. And he's now all of a sudden like, all right, cool. I need to know about this internet now. So what do you do? How do you like this? So we've got 10 vans going out on a daily basis throughout the country. So how did my confidence come? My confidence, I'm never going to say that I exceeded my dad or beat my dad, but my confidence came from showing my dad I can sell as well. There's more than one way to selling. So there's selling yourself, there's selling a product, but I've always thought bigger. Why think national? So why think local in Coventry when you have national scope? You've gone one step further. You haven't just thought, okay, cool, I'm going to sell Forex courses to my mate. Why can I not sell it to your mate or your mate's mate or your mate's mate's mate or your uncle in Dubai? So you've taken something from local to national to global. And obviously you'll continue to do so. But my confidence comes from that.
Yeah, I think exactly what you said. I think there's just two things I'd add is like one is walking with purpose. That's just people thing I think that people can see. Like if you are walking into a room, head down, looking at the floor, you look at a place, that's something you can actually just fix by working on yourself and just being able to be like, I need to be noticed a little bit. The second one is in confidence, like again, my story, no English at home, no siblings, my cousins are not in my age group. So I'm literally going through life and trying to figure out how to dress properly, everything. But just throw yourself in the deep end.
Yeah.
I threw myself in the deep end and managed to just go, right, that friendship circle, go in there. Yes, it might be a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning, but then you've learned and you've learned. And then, yeah, I could be in London and one of my friends will go, do you want to come shisha with Michael B. Jordan or something? I'll be like, sure.
Yeah.
And before you know it, I'm having shisha in front of him. And before you know it, you get confidence from that. And then I'm with this person and this person and this person. And then you learn it the hard way. But people don't want to throw themselves in the deep end. I will, again, make that excuse of like, oh, yeah, it's just not for me. I'm like, what is for you? Is what a strange thing to say. Oh, it's not for me. Socializing not for you. Talking's not for you. Listening is not for you. No, you need to be good at all of these things. Otherwise, you can't even get a job at Argos unless you can actually communicate and actually keep your job. So learn those skills.
So what's the best advice you received and what's the worst advice you received? The best piece from me.
Okay.
No, I'm joking.
The best advice. I think as I got older, and I think you'd appreciate this one, it's you can try and make as much money as you want, but if you try and like kind of go from this number to this number, and if you're bending over backwards to do it because it's just all about figures and numbers for you, always subtract aggravation costs. Always subtract aggravation costs.
That's fair.
And figure out what number you're left with. So if you can control your life and build it in a way where you're hitting this, and you don't have to like kind of you can go to the gym, you can go out to eat, you can hang out with your girlfriend, you can travel anywhere you want to go, and you've got this amount of work to do and you receive X. But where people get that, maybe that ego or whatever, that it's just, or not even ego, it's just they get complicated in their way of thinking. And then before you know it, to make that extra 20, 30, 40, 100,000, they have just burned themselves out. They've got no time for themselves. And so, yeah, just subtract aggravation costs.
Don't chase the money.
And
what about the worst advice?
Bad advice, I'd probably say just go and study.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably a bit humorous because it's what Asian families say.
Yeah.
As much as you want to grow up and you want to say, oh, this older cousin's going to give me this magical advice because he's doing well. And before you know it, you're at the dinner table, it's like, stick to school. So it's not like they don't mean it. I think they actually want you to have your own journey. But just because someone brushes off and says something to you, no, do what's for you. Don't just kind of say, okay, he's given me this one word of advice and that's me.
Mm.
The person could just not be paying attention.
Yeah.
The person could be just trying to say the generic sentence to you. So I think that bad advice can come when you're overthinking, as you earlier mentioned, like, hey, not everyone's going to give you the advice for you.
Mm.
So yeah, I've probably heard all types of people say, slow down, or, are you sure you want to get this? Are
That's
you
probably a
sure you
police officer.
But I definitely, like, I even think, like, okay, my office is an example. Like, I had to go from, carve to this, that. Before you know it, I'm paying £25,000 a month rent in the middle of Mayfair per month. The amount of people that said to me, "You're out of your mind." And I said, "Why? We're just getting bigger."
Hmm.
And like, I want to do this. I actually said to myself, I'm gonna have so much fun doing this. And hey, if I had listened, there wouldn't be that. I did it. It was the best few years ever. And, that really got me to the spot that I wanted to eventually get to. So, yeah, people are going to say, don't buy that car, don't buy this, don't buy that. But have you managed to make it work for you?
Okay, last question.
Sure.
If you had to give your younger self advice, what would it be?
Don't be too hard on yourself. I think that, people are really too hard on them. And this is where social media has changed things. And like, even using my platform, try and remind people of this is who I was back then. It wasn't something like that's happened like this.
Hmm.
So there's so many people that are beating themselves up because they're watching someone who might have rented a car or maybe have gone on a holiday and they're just going, why is that not me? And I think that maybe for me, maybe for you, we didn't have Instagram
Hmm.
when we were knowing each other. It was like Facebook days.
Yeah.
And you used to kind of turn around and see one person post something, but it didn't bother you.
Hmm.
But I think there's a lot of situations right now where people are posting different things before they even got them, lying about them. So just try not to look at someone and just be like, poor me, look at what I don't have and what they've got,
Yeah.
because it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. That is one, a lovely way to end what I wanted to say. And two, the beauty of social media is it opens your eyes up to all different types of people in the world. The negative of it is it opens up your eyes to all different types of people in the world.
Comparison games.
So you'll have people that are real and you'll have people that are absolutely full of shit. It's like, and I said this in the last podcast as well. I was speaking with someone, and this man teaches people business. His main saying is, "I have a 7-figure business." Amazing. Well,
Generic quote.
it's very general. We know it's very general.
Financial freedom.
But financial freedom, high energy. Let's go. I'm gonna make you a millionaire. Even when I'm not a millionaire myself. The guy's saying is, "I have a 7-figure business," but he lost £400,000. So, and this is what I'll always try saying this: how are you teaching somebody how to make money when you was in business by yourself, you made zero? And that's such a negative thing on social, because you can say what you want, everyone will believe it. Everyone will believe it. What the eye see, the mind believes, right? And obviously, what the ears hear, you'll just naturally
Of
believe it.
course.
But actually seeing real people who don't finance their stuff, who back their shit up on a daily, turn up to the office on a daily, preach success to people, but live the story. That's the whole idea of this. But I appreciate you.
No worries. Always.
On the
Always.
real, as an older brother, seeing you grow, bro, is so humbling. It's so humbling. From that guy who had the Corsa, and I remember some of the videos you used to take of me, and I genuinely used to think, "Yo, who the hell does this guy think I am? 'Cause I'm just me." But like, we've had everything from doing 140 mile an hour in a car, and you were behind me doing 70 in your Corsa, and like you were speeding up to me, to going out to Nando's in an Aventador and a Rolls Royce Wraith.
I know.
It's absolutely amazing coming on the journey with you. I appreciate the time you've given me. I appreciate the respect you give me. I appreciate the love you give me. And honestly, I hope you nothing but success in the
Thank you
world.
so much for
My
having me.
brother, love you.
Let's go.
Thank you for your time, my bro.
Cool.